this afternoon. So everybody had a wonderful time in crude oil land today. Let's see. I think where we left off, we were expecting some of this chop. We've been watching to see what was going to happen with our big line in the sand down here at 42.85. And the bus driver went right down there, crossed it, stopped exactly at the deviation, and turned northbound. Just amazing how this stuff works, isn't it? Just amazing. I think quite a bit of this up right here is some of these contracts being offloaded. And that may continue up until 4 o'clock. So we'll see how that goes. You know, this is a little bit of a guessing game in a way, but at least the Apex tools give us a better hint than the average bear has, that's for sure. Tomorrow is inventory. The report will be out at 10:30. The API will have prelim reports, but it won't affect the market until tomorrow when 10:30 happens. I very strongly urge you not to put a trade on right at the stroke of 10:30. Sometimes it can roll right across you like a steamroller. It's best to see what the report is and watch the market for a few minutes. Let it calm down, pick a direction, and then if you're comfortable and if you have a signal, then you can consider taking that. So we'll see how that plays out tomorrow. It looks like, watching our red ice line, we did have this stay true to form. 1 hour below the red ice line is an 80% chance it will remain below the red ice line. So we'll see how that pans out tomorrow also. Anyway, we do have quite a bit of volume coming in here. And that's, I mean, this is for West Texas crude oil, which is what we trade in the United States. This is a significant amount of volume here all of a sudden. Brent trades in Europe, maybe 650,000 contracts a day, so that's more of a European product, but it does lead the U.S. market in our crude oil market. So let's see, that's about all I can think of today. This was a great practice day. If you did not do this earlier, I really suggest this is a great day to practice marking your charts so you get the hang of it. The thing is about taking these trades, you can take, there's lots and lots of trades to take. But what I think is really important is that you learn what trade it is you're taking instead of this, oh, well, this looks like a good spot, I'll just click the button here. That's not going to work out for you well in the long term. Be very precise about knowing where these entries are. And crude oil yesterday gave us lots of green and it was up. And when it hit today, this was the change in the trend. So this was the first one that was a valid E. And then the rest of these are dotted because they are add-on points. Or if you're late to the party, maybe you had an appointment, maybe you came home and turned everything on and said, gee, I would like to place a trade, but where could I get in? These can be add-on spots, people who are multiple contract traders. many times use this as an add-on spot. If they started with one, then they might add another one here. They might add another one here. Depends on your account size, your risk tolerance, and your money management plan. The other thing, some of you are asking me about, how do you get all these little circles on your chart? And what we've used for a long time at Apex is to use triangles for invalids and circles for valids. For instance, here on this MVP, 10-minute MVP chart, this is a valid red arrow. It has a matching red bar, and the next bar is confirms that. So to get the circle on there, you go right here to your drawing tools, double click that, you get your pencil, and go up here and put a circle around this. It's actually an ellipse. You can draw whatever you want. Takes a little practice, and then pull it over. If it does not set, you will need to go up to the pencil, snap mode, and disable that. Otherwise, it has a mind of its own. The same with the triangles. If you wanted a triangle, you click on this, double click the button until you get your pencil activated, and you have to draw a triangle. This takes a little practice too, I can tell you. Until you get the triangle you want, then you can grab the triangle and move it wherever you want it and remove them. So to get these dots and to keep adding these, you don't, it's a pain to keep drawing these. So once you get a good one, just go out here in the middle of nowhere and draw one. But once you get a good one like this one, then click on it, right click, copy. Then go out in the middle of your chart, right click, left click, and go to paste. Now you have two. Take this one and drag it wherever you want. Say you want it right here, or you want it somewhere else. Whatever you want to do with it. Put it down, right click it, go to properties, you can change the color, you can make it fatter or thinner or whatever you want. I use 3 for the charts. It works for my eyes. And then you can change this to dot or dash or whatever you want it to be. If you want it transparent, there's an area. I would have the area transparent so your chart shows through. This is the outline. This is the area. You can click OK, apply. If you want to keep doing that, you can set this to default. Okay. Then when you get tired of that, right click it and hit remove. Gone. Now, one quick tip. The mechanism to keep this on your chart for tomorrow and the next day and the day after that is to immediately go to your control center, click File, Workspace, Save Workspace. Done. Now, tomorrow morning when you bring your charts up, all these dots, all these circles will be on there. So I'm going to be around. Let's see, Mike wants a review of the 10-minute chart. and I take it that means how I use it. All of these charts, these 3 charts that we use to trade with, are diagnostic charts. These are proprietary Apex diagnostic charts. They have absolutely no relationship to time whatsoever. A new bar will form when the price dictates it, not how much time has gone by. So I use the 30-minute because it will give you a really good idea of the big picture. For me, I try to start with the big picture and then zero it down into what's it going to do for me now. I find this 10-minute chart, Daryl did an excellent training on this 10-minute chart and how he uses it. I don't use it quite that way. I like the MVP on it because when you have an MVP arrow show up at the same time or within a couple of 3 or 4 minutes, that you have one of these show up on your diagnostic chart, believe me, you have a trade. I have learned that that is a very, very powerful signal. It doesn't happen very often. That's the bad news. It doesn't happen very often, but watch for those, because when they turn up at the same time as you've got on your 12-tick diagnostic chart, you have a very strong entry signal, up or down, whichever way it's going. The other thing I find it easy to see here is the range channels. I can see these range channels at a glance, just at a glance. I don't have to sit here and think, well, let's see now what these are. Every single one of them is 10 minutes. 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. Some of these will be wider, some will be skinnier, some will be much littler. This took a lot of time for this range channel to form in here. These are 10 minutes. Daryl uses these 10-minute charts with the deviation indicators on here, the deviation levels. He uses them as a trailing stop. Now, that's why I call him Captain Courageous. Captain Courageous does a lot of things that just, I mean, I'm just not there. I can't do it. But he takes a trade on a big trend like today, and he will use these. The rules are on the website in that training of the bar that crosses and closes below the next deviation and what have you. It is a great way to do it, but it's just not my comfort zone. So you might take a look at that because it is a very good use. I mean, no question about it. Why do I use candlesticks on one and open high low on the other? Simply to break it up. I find that if you look at all the same thing and all the same color, pretty soon it starts to all run together. And I like to keep it so that something is a little bit different, because it may not be very clear to you on one chart. When you glance over at the other, it's like, oh, good grief, what was I thinking? So it helps separate your visual recognition, I guess is what I would say. You will also start to learn, I think Leah has studied this, and she recognizes patterns that these bars put up on this 10-minute, and I do to a certain extent, where you can kind of guesstimate. It's also very easy to see where a strong resistance. Do you see these 2 bars right here? This is 20 minutes worth where the market could not break this deviation. And these two bars make it real clear. Tried it again, and rejected it. Lost on the circles. Susan. Okay, you have to go to this. Do you see this column right here? Do you have this column? You should. The column on the left, and you see a circle. You double click the circle, go out here on your chart and draw a circle. And click. Then you grab it and move it. And you delete it by right-clicking and removing. Susan, if you did not download the, oh, I see, the cursor. On the camera, there is a delay. That is one of the, I know it's very frustrating. There is a delay on these. You should have a toolbar at the left-hand side of your chart. And you can also go to the pencil thing up here at the top of your chart, the pencil icon. You click on those, but this toolkit, I mean the drawing tool shortcut is automatically loaded on every Apex template chart. So if you don't have that, you just have to be unafraid to click around and click around. The expected range, this is, keep in mind, I think it's Ezra's asking. Ezra, the expected range indicator, this is one of the most, if you're going to trade crude oil, I don't see how people can do it without it. This is a dynamic indicator, and it is uno momento. This will move all the time, but this is the expected range based on the internal programming of the Apex indicators of how high or low the market could go right at that spot. And if you go back over your charts and study those, you will start to notice that many times crude oil in particular, I don't know about other markets, but crude oil in particular is incredibly respectful of these range channels, and they make very good take profit places, both up and down. The mountain indicator at the bottom. If you will put how I find trades in my world in the search, you will get an explanation of that with marked up charts. And I readily admit it's so stupid, it's embarrassing, but it works for me. So anything else I can help you with, just let us know. Everybody at Apex is very willing to stop and help anybody. So don't, the only stupid questions are the ones that don't get asked. And if you don't ask, you'll never know. So that's my view from my world for today, and I'll see you all tomorrow, and we'll carry on. We'll have another wonderful day in Apex land. Take care.